Hey everyone, David Burgess here again with Keller Realty. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel on this beautiful day here in Lakewood Ranch. And I'm sorry I've been away a few weeks. It's been a bit crazy here with 2 hurricanes in the past few weeks. It's just been a lot going on. But I did have a new video for you about 2 weeks ago. It was all put together on the back of Hurricane Helene, and then Milton was right behind it. So I scrapped that and thought that I would just give you an update and really just to show you what had happened to me personally on the back of both of those hurricanes and how it affected my family and friends in the Tampa Bay area, and also where I live in Lakewood Ranch and the Sarasota area. So yeah, let's go over Hurricane Helene and Milton. Okay, so first of all, absolutely fine. Everybody I know was safe, and it was obviously a big scare. I've been through a few hurricanes here now since living in Florida for the past 10 years or so. My wife thinks that was the worst one that she's had. Personally, I thought my first one, Irma, in 2017 was the worst. I don't know if it's just because it's the first hurricane you go through and everything sounds louder and stuff, but yes, we didn't have any real house damage to our own home in Lakewood Ranch. I had a couple of palm trees fall on my car, which weren't secured properly because it's a new home. Really wasn't thinking just parking so close to those. I mean, there's so much going on when you're preparing for a hurricane. And yeah, so both of those fell on my car, so I've got a rental car for the time being. Other than that, we had some damage to our old house in Riverview, which was on the market. We had to pull it off the market. That had a bit of fence damage. It had a few shingles go. We've got the roof been addressed, and we lost some of the screen out by the pool and the lanai area, but other than that we were fine. But I mainly wanted to back up and discuss Hurricane Helene first of all, because we had a lot of friends and family really affected by Hurricane Helene, and although it didn't actually make landfall in this area, it was at that perfect kind of distance off the coast of Tampa and Sarasota that it caused such a storm surge that a lot of homes in the area were really badly affected by flooding. Again, the further east you are, you're absolutely fine. But yes, my father-in-law in Madeira Beach in St. Pete, we were over there helping on the Monday and Tuesday. But before that, we were in Apollo Beach helping friends, and it was bad. I mean, I've personally never been in a home that has been flooded before, so it was all very eye-opening to me. But which was really interesting to me was how 2 different generations handle something like that, because they've never been through it before. They both live on the water, both love going out on their boats and love living on the water and enjoying everything that it offers. But yes, our friends, first of all, we went over there on the Saturday. About 48 hours later, the water had all got out by then. I'm not going to show you photos of inside their home because it's a bit personal, but I can show you outside. I mean, the whole neighborhood there in that kind of like Gulf and Sea area of Apollo Beach, it was just really badly affected. They had about 3 or 4 feet of water inside. Those homes have never been flooded before. That truly was as bad of flooding as Tampa Bay has ever seen. It was, we were over there helping with a load of other people, and it was interesting because the couple were in their early 40s and they were like a military operation. They were obviously down and upset about it, but they were like, look, let's get the furniture out, let's get the baseboard peeled back, let's get the drywall cut, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they are just avid boaters. They just love going out in their backyard and getting on the boat and going out and really enjoying the Tampa Bay area and everything that it has to offer. They're on their boats like once a week, and then so they, we help them out. They're certainly, they've moved out of their home for a few weeks while everything's being renovated. I honestly think that sort of flooding won't affect people like those whatsoever. I feel like they love being outside and on the water so much that it won't really make a difference to them of having a home that floods and that could potentially flood again and again. We were then helping my father-in-law. Of course, you know, my in-laws are like late 60s, mid 70s, and the difference was like night and day. They were really hit by it. They just didn't know how to handle it. Again, they've lived on the water for like 15 years or so. Never, those whole homes in this area, in this condo unit, they're all like ground floor condos, so they're not like, you know, like multi-story or whatever. But none of those had ever been flooded. They were built in the early 70s, and all of them were just completely wiped out. I mean, you went there and the whole neighborhood, all the furniture was outside. But I was there, my wife and I and other people, you know, my sister-in-law flew down from Indiana. We were all trying to help, but they just didn't know how to handle all of this. And they had a lot of stuff in their home. And they, you know, we were like, look guys, we'd had the experience of our friends a few days before, and we were like, look guys, you need to get the furniture out, you know, you need to cut back the baseboard, you need to you know, bring the drywall up, we need to stop mold setting in, because that's the worst thing that can happen. You know, there was no smell at that time, but there was always a fear that mold would kick in and it would start smelling, so we were trying to get things out, but they were really like focusing on salvaging things, you know, like older things, and they, you know, they put a lot of sentimental value on a lot of older things and a monetary value on everything as well. So they were just, you know, they were trying to dry things that were damaged. In my eyes, they were just damaged. I would be like, look, let's get rid of them, let's throw them out. But they were like, no, let's try and salvage this, let's try and dry them, let's try and put them outside. And they, I mean, even now, they're still trying to clear up things now. And it wasn't just them, because I was helping the neighbours next door. You know, the lady came by and she said, look, can you help me move a couch and a desk and everything? And she was saying, my dad, like, he's just delirious. She said, like, he's there, I'm trying to get things out of the house, trying to help him. And he's like cleaning CDs from like 30 years ago. And she said he's never been near those CDs. I've never seen him go near them, but he was, you know, what was really sad to see is that he put so much emphasis on things that he never really used. And yeah, he obviously had this awakening that the fact that they were valuable and they meant something to him. So it was really interesting seeing, it was really sad, don't get me wrong, but it was really interesting seeing how different generations handle stuff like that and what they put value on. Now, you know, as I go over that, you know, it really made me think to myself, would I ever want to live on the water? And I ask you this as well, would you ever want to live on the water, you know, with a boat and a dock and everything? Because I know it's like the Florida dream, whereas I've personally always gravitated towards new construction and being a bit further away from the coast. As I was driving over there, you know, they were saying to me like, oh, would this change your mind in ever living on the water? And I was like, I didn't really want to say anything, but I kind of flipped it on them and I said, well, is it made you second guess living on the water and stuff? And my in-laws, so it's like my father-in-law's wife, Carolyn's stepmom, she was like, yeah, I don't want to live on the water anymore, because she was saying that, you know, the thing with all of this is you could clean all this up, and she said in a few weeks another hurricane could come along. And although, you know, these are 1 in 100-year events to that effect, you know, that would be my mindset as well. I would be so concerned that another one came along and just made exactly the same damage, and it very nearly did. You know, Milton came along 2 weeks later, and honestly, guys, I was really, really fearful for that area, because I'll show you these videos in the distance, in the background, so you can see everything. All you could see in that whole area was just furniture outside and debris, like missiles. They were just lined up, ready for Hurricane Milton to come through and just to completely flatten that area. And I was really worried when I left there before coming over to my house, because we were still helping them leading up to Milton. When I left, all you could see was just all this stuff out there. And I feel like they had a real blessing that Milton came through in the kind of Sarasota area and it wasn't a bit further up, because if that was further up, I feel like Tampa would have been completely flattened, especially over on the coast there in St. Pete and all of that. So yeah, personally, seeing all of that, it does make me second guess if I'd ever want to live on the water. But as I say that, it made me think of all the other people that I've helped over the years that live on the water. And one of the communities that I've helped people most in was South Shore Yacht Club in Ruskin, because I've helped like 4 different buyers build in there, and they're all new construction homes. And one thing about that community is everything is elevated, and all of the older homes they're just a lot lower. And you know, I always want to reach out and see how everyone's doing during these times, but obviously their first kind of instinct is obviously safety. So I don't want to be annoying and bugging them and to find out how they're getting on. But I did check in with them all, and that extra elevation makes a big difference, because all of those homes in South Shore Yacht Club that are more elevated, and they are right on the water there in Ruskin, it came up, the water came up to basically their lanai and over the pool. If they've got a pool, it will come over the pool and it will come up to the steps and it will stop, and it won't go in your house, or it didn't go in their house, should I say. So having a new construction home, even in those areas, and having that extra elevation makes a huge difference. And it's one of the reasons that I've always preferred newer homes. Even, it doesn't matter what area you're in, because building code will always stipulate that you have to kind of build up a bit. But in those areas, those homes that are just built a little bit up, and even if they were built over the last 10 to 15 years, they will definitely be more elevated than the ones that were built in the, you know, anything before kind of 2003 really. So yeah, you know, I was really glad that I had one previous home buyer that I've helped. He lost his boat. He had to go out and find his boat. His boat got washed away. And yeah, he said he managed to get it back. It had no damage, but it got ripped off of his dock, and he had to go and find it. So yeah, it was seriously eventful. But my neighbourhood, you know, we stayed. We had, you know, I would say about 80% of people stayed for Hurricane Milton, and the eye of the storm came right through our neighbourhood. Like it came right through. If I show you this map here, you can see how it came through, and it literally went right by our house, and you can feel it. When people say, oh, I heard the eye of the storm is really quiet, and it's like dead silent, and the wind just stops. That's exactly what happens. It just goes, it's all really windy and loud, and then it just stops for like 30-40 minutes or whatever, and then it starts picking up again. So it was really interesting, but I was safe. You know, I felt safe. I mean, you do worry a little bit, because so many people reach out and they are like, you know, do we evacuate? Do we stay? We're really nervous, and I'm always worried more about the people that have just moved here. You know, the people that have been through, that I've helped before, that have been through plenty of these, I don't worry about them so much. But the people that have moved in recently, I'm always more worried about them, because they just don't know what, you know, they're not used to handling hurricanes. But yeah, I had another neighbour in my neighbourhood that left and evacuated. I mean, the good thing about hurricanes, if there is a good thing, is that at least you get a lot of notice. You know, you do get a lot of time to prepare, a lot of time to figure out if you're staying or going. And honestly, they don't scare me. They don't put me off living in Florida. I've had some people that are just so put off by them that they'll never move here, and that's fine, but they are part of life living here. You are always going to have them. I would expect to have them every year or every other year. You know, especially when you have a newer home and you have the shutters or you have impact resistant windows, you know, you really are, you know, the things that it's going to affect most, it might shift your tiles with the roof a little bit. It will definitely rip off some shingles. Your fence is going to be affected. Your screen is probably going to get ripped. They're definitely the things that get affected most. Street signs, down trees, although a lot of new construction communities doesn't have too many older mature trees. So yeah, funnily enough, a few weeks ago I actually helped a home buyer build in Riverview, a good friend of mine who moved back to Florida, and he had a tree fall on his house, at the back of his house, and it didn't actually cause too much damage. It looked a lot worse than what it was, but yeah, it kind of just made a bit of damage on the roof. But he likes those older mature oak trees, and with those is going to come a lot more risk with high winds, obviously. So yeah, I mean that's basically how we fared through Helene and Milton. I've never been here while we've had two back to back. Like I said, one of them really affected us more than the other. But the irony of that is that the one that didn't affect us so much came right over our house. We were more affected by Helene because it hit so many of our friends and family, and we were helping out and just really trying to, muck in and get the generators. And, of course, you go without power. We went without power for 24 hours, but other people went without it for days and days. And that's the first hurricane I've been through actually here where we lost power. The others that I've had, we didn't lose power at all. So we were out for 24 hours. We got a generator, rigged it up to the fridge, and yeah, it was just hot for a day basically. But yeah, it's, just going back to, would you still live on the water? Because there's going to be a lot of opportunity. And I've had a couple of people already reach out and say, do you think the values of these properties are going to come down? I don't know. Like, I think they certainly will for like condos and things like that. I think they will. Inevitably, I think they will. But I feel like the new construction ones, the ones that are more elevated and the ones that don't have damage, I think the value of those will go up more because I feel like they'll be more sought after. But yeah, the older ones that are more, that are more at sea level and just aren't raised, they are obviously, the flood insurance is going to go up even more. I've got a good friend who lives in Port Richey. He's got a beautiful view, like stunning view, and he's right on the water there. And he bought a home a few years ago. We helped him buy it. And they've never had flooding there. Again, never had flooding, but his flood zone was VE. I mean, flood zone VE is like living under the water. I mean, that's like SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, that is like, if you were any more under the water, you would literally be under the sea there. So yeah, he is right there, but they've never had flood insurance. And they've never had flooding, but his flood insurance at VE was like 10 grand a year. And that was the most extreme that I'd ever heard flood insurance. But he loves it so much out there that he just, it's a second home for him. He goes out on the water like all the time on his boat. It really is stunning. And it's a complete luxury, of course, right? It's a complete luxury up there. But yeah, he will pay that every year. Now, his flood insurance is no doubt going to be even higher than that. So yeah, everyone's flood insurance is going to go up when you live on the coast like that. It's just inevitable with all of these FEMA claims. But really, if I was like my friends in Apollo Beach who are like avid boaters, they just love going out on the boat, those types of people, I don't think it will affect them. I honestly think that their love for being outdoors and on the boat is so much more than living in home and living indoors, that I think that they'll just stay there forever and they'll love to continue that lifestyle. But the people that live on the water that don't go out on their boats as often, I think they're the ones that it's going to affect most, because I think they're the people that are going to be like, I don't want to go through all this again. And my in-laws included, and their neighbours that I met, some of them just don't go out. They live directly on the water, but they don't go out on the boat much. So yeah, that's how it is. But of course, we haven't really seen, there hasn't been much time to see how the market has done after that. We just got a house under contract yesterday, which we had to pull off the market twice, just because, there's no point keeping it on because there's just nobody out seeing homes. So we take it off temporarily. We did get a home under contract yesterday. We had to take our own home off the market because it's had some damage. So that is still available at the moment, and that will go back on next week. And I don't think we'll have any issues selling those types of homes. I don't think they just weren't affected enough by the hurricanes, anything out of the norm that would put people off. But it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of inventory up at the moment. Interest rates are coming down. We got, the election's going to be over in a couple of weeks, and yeah, we're coming into the busy season here in the winter here in Florida. So I'll keep you updated. Sorry it's so windy today. It's been really breezy lately, but it is beautiful out here. The weather is normally a lot nicer on the back of these hurricanes. It's like they're just toying with you, right? It's like Florida's just saying, sorry about that. We're back with some beautiful weather now. So yeah, that's basically how we fared and how things were. Just wanted to give you an update. I'll be giving more real estate content very, very soon, but it's been so difficult doing videos lately. We've got a load of construction going on at our house, and yeah, we've got a lot of listings coming up actually at the moment. So been on a lot of appointments and things, but yeah, I'll have some more content out for you soon. Thanks so much. Just wanted to give you an update. Sorry it's taken so long. And if you have any comment, and actually let me know in the comments, would you still want to live on the water here in Florida with hurricanes in mind, with flooding in mind? Would you buy a home with flooding history? Let me know all that stuff, because personally I think I'm probably more of a freedom boat man. I think I'd be one of those freedom boat club people where you just go and turn up and they give you a boat. I think that's probably more me, but I'm not a huge boater. So yeah, maybe in time I'll change, but yeah, we'll see. Thanks again for tuning in. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel, and no doubt you'll hear from me very soon.